Look for your utility bill to become a lot more expensive as California politicians approve a flat fee scam to add on to your electricity rates. Plus, Governor Gavin Newsom argues in court that voters are too stupid to be allowed to vote on tax increases. All that and more coming up. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and today the California Public Utilities Commission voted to approve a utility rate flat fee, the flat fee scam, as I call it, that will increase your utility bills and basically force you to pay higher rates for electricity so that your neighbor down the street can get a discount. We'll be covering that in just a moment and what we're doing to block that latest fee scam. But first, yesterday, the California Supreme Court took up Governor Gavin Newsom's motion for an emergency injunction to remove a citizens initiative from the November ballot. As you know, the California citizens have, since 1911, had a constitutionally protected right to collect signatures on an initiative, on a petition, to put a ballot measure up on any topic that they choose to vote on. It's a direct democracy. It was part of the progressive era of reforms, and it has been a cherished right of citizens in California to check the power of politicians by going directly to the ballot box with important issues. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom in court yesterday, the California Supreme Court, basically argued that you should be stripped of those rights. Specifically, he says that the California Taxpayer Protection Initiative, an initiative that I support, that we helped collect signatures, 1.4 million signatures to put on the November ballot, that initiative is too sweeping in its reforms to be considered by voters, and that voters are, quote, too stupid, too ignorant, too simple-minded to be able to be trusted to vote on issues like tax increases. Of course, the tax raiser himself doesn't want anyone to limit his ability to get into your wallet, to get more of your money. So here's how it was covered in Cal Matters. Just simply the question, will California voters decide tax limits in November? It's up to the Supreme Court. It's actually not up to them. That's where Newsom is going to see if they will do his bidding, and they just might because they're all appointed by him. But it's not up to the Supreme Court. It's not up to Gavin Newsom. It is our cherished constitutional right. It is our right as citizens to put anything we damn well please to put on the ballot for a public vote. And so in the course of the hearing, Governor Gavin Newsom, through his lawyer, argued to the Supreme Court justices that voters don't have the capacity to decide on tax hikes, that these things are so complicated that you need the experts like Governor Newsom and the state legislators to make these decisions on our behalf because, we're just simple country bumpkins. We wouldn't be able to figure out government budgets and taxes. That's why we have the politicians. They do such a great job, right? Governor Gavin Newsom, who's presiding over a budget deficit filled with red ink, $70 to $80 billion, at least on paper, much more than that when you remove the Enron-style accounting gimmicks. And of course, this is a guy who says, yeah, trust me when it comes to tax increases. I won't tax you too much. Bitch, please. You've been taking our money. You've been giving us the highest tax rates of any state in the country, the highest tax burden, the highest cost of living, the highest income tax, the highest sales tax, the highest car tax, the highest gas tax, even despite Prop 13's limitations, which we all appreciate. We have the highest property taxes in the nation because we have the highest assessed values because our housing prices are so high. We have the highest electricity rates. More on that in just a moment. The highest water rates. Every single damn tax in California is the highest when compared to other states. And yet these illegitimate, incompetent spending addicts in Sacramento continue to say that they need more money, but we can't trust you to decide tax increases. How about this? The best answer on tax increases doesn't require a law degree, a PhD, or even a GED. The answer is simply hell's no. You don't get any more of our money. No one needs any education to realize that the politicians have scammed us. They are liars, cheats, and thieves, and that the tax burden is too much. It is the epitome of arrogance and abuse of power by a bunch of elites to sit there and tell us, the people, that we are too ignorant or too simple-minded or don't have the capacity to understand government finance. The other argument was made not by Gavin Newsom's lawyer, but by one of the liberal justices. I know that doesn't narrow down the list. It was by a justice appointed by Jerry Brown. Justice Goodwin Liu said that letting voters block tax hikes of state politicians would create, quote, a fourth branch of government. You ignorant rube. Who the hell got you your law degree? Did you find it in some crackerjack box? Justice Liu, the voters are not the fourth branch of government. They're not even a branch of government. They are the owners, the custodians, the shareholders, the customers. They are the deciders when it comes to all things government. In fact, the three branches of government need to answer to we the people. That's how the system of government has been designed. We don't need to be considered a fourth branch of government. We own the whole damn kit and caboodle. All three branches answer to the voters. And if we want to intervene at the ballot box and limit a branch of government in terms of what it can do and say to them that they've got to come back to us, that doesn't make us the fourth branch of government. That just makes us the people, a democracy. But of course, you're an elite Supreme Court justice with the black robes, hanging out at your cocktail parties with the politicians that you like to rub elbows with. The fourth branch of government is already in existence in Sacramento. It is the union bosses, the labor union chiefs, and the lobbyists for big business. That's the fourth branch of government. The powerful, the elites. You answer to them, not the people. And what we're trying to do is remind you that the people are the ones in charge, not the fourth branch of government players that constitute the Sacramento swamp, or the legislative, executive, or judicial branch. We decide how those branches of government can operate. We do that through our state constitution. And we, the people, have a right to amend the state constitution using a citizens' initiative at any time that we so choose. That's what we're doing with the Taxpayer Protection Initiative. What does the Taxpayer Protection Initiative do? Very simply, it restores the power of Prop 13 from 1978 by saying that no tax increase can take effect statewide without a vote of the people. It also says that local taxes, if they're earmarked, would have to be a 2/3 vote. It also says that when you vote on tax increases, it would have to have an honest ballot title. The term tax increase would have to be prominently written into the title on your ballot so you know what you're voting on. No more playing hide the ball, no more basically committing voter fraud and stealing an election by manipulating the title that is printed on the ballot to favor the outcome the politicians want. And finally, the Taxpayer Protection Initiative, and this is so important. This is one of the most important parts of the ballot measure. It strengthens the definition of what a fee is versus what a tax is so that politicians can't call something a fee when in fact it's a tax. And that leads us to our next topic. And that is today at the California Public Utilities Commission, they voted to impose a flat fee surcharge on our electricity bills. The surcharge is going to be approximately $35. No, actually, it's $24, starting out at $24.15 per month. And they say, well, that pays for the electricity lines, the infrastructure. Well, we're already paying for the infrastructure. It's actually embedded in our kilowatt hour rates. They say, well, okay, fine. Good point. We already charge you for the electricity line, so we'll reduce your kilowatt hour rates by a couple pennies, 5 cents to 7 cents. Oh, really? And you don't think that we are going to see an increase next year in those per kilowatt rates? This is exactly the scam that they're doing. They're adding a charge to your bill, this flat fee for infrastructure, even though you're already paying for the infrastructure. Then they're saying, well, okay, we'll make it up by reducing your kilowatt rates. Oh, but next year we're going to increase your rates. This is nothing but a shell game. It's a scam. The flat fee is being added to your rates. It's not in exchange for a rate reduction. And here's the other thing that's so important. This is the first time in California that electricity rates will be set based upon your income, your household income, because you'll pay $24.15 if you earn too much, according to the Public Utilities Commission. But if you earn not enough, then you get a discount. You only pay $6 or $12 per month, depending upon your income. In other words, some people will be charged more to do a wealth transfer to subsidize those that will be charged less. This is also what we call socialism, and it constitutes an illegal tax. You cannot charge a fee for a service based upon someone's income or their skin color or anything else if you're not going to apply the same fee to someone else. The fee should be based upon what is the cost of providing the service, not do you fall into the right favored political constituency group that the politicians want to throw some chum in the water to for votes, obviously. And so this is an illegal tax. The Taxpayer Protection Initiative that I just referenced, when we pass it in November, it will invalidate this charge on your utility bill based upon your income. And you know damn well that if we don't succeed in passing the Taxpayer Protection Initiative, that flat fee will get jacked up every single year. They're doing it just because they can. Right now they can. And that's why we have to pass the Taxpayer Protection Initiative. I want you to go onto our campaign website. Go, by the way, the article I talked about, Gavin Newsom and voters don't have capacity to decide on tax hikes. That is on the front page of reformcalifornia.org. Share that article with everybody you know, reformcalifornia.org. But also check out stopcaliforniataxhikes.com. Stopcaliforniataxhikes.com. On that site, it tells you about the Taxpayer Protection Initiative and how it will dramatically change what's going on with respect to tax burden for all families in California. We also warn you of the various tax increases that the politicians are trying to impose upon us, including that utility rate scam that they just approved today. But they want to increase your sales tax. They want to impose a higher income tax, a gross income tax, a gross receipts tax, a payroll tax, more property taxes by repealing Prop 13, an exit tax on people moving out of the state. Yeah, an exit tax. It's just insane. A mileage tax, and of course, a wealth tax that would tax your savings account and your 401k. They will not stop. There's nothing to limit these liars, cheats, and thieves. And that's why the Taxpayer Protection Initiative is so profoundly important that we pass it in November to stop the constant bleeding and the burdens being added to working families and taxpayers in California. We simply cannot afford the spending addiction that these state politicians and local politicians have developed at our expense. When you're on that site, please share this petition to get us a bigger movement to expand our ranks. People can sign up to pledge to protect Prop 13 in the November election and vote for the Taxpayer Protection Initiative. And please, it's so very important, contribute to the campaign. Chip in a contribution at stopcaliforniataxhikes.com or reformcalifornia.org. We cannot power this movement without your continued support. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.